For years, I thrived in the high-pressure business world, but the workaholic life finally caught up with me. I was 35, very overweight, in chronic pain with severe mobility issues, terrible diet, no exercise. My health was a complete wreck. Then I went to a gentle yoga class and felt truly relaxed. The stress just melted away. I went from a size 18 to a size 8. I stopped getting sick. Pain disappeared. I learned to open my heart and I felt happy for the first time in years. So I said goodbye to the business world and started teaching. Yoga doesn't have to be strenuous. The easiest movements can trigger major release of chronic symptoms, no matter your age.
Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems.
Hello, I'm Deborah Devine, and welcome to Healing Yoga. Yoga for real people with real problems. And yes, that was me with real problems in the opening cartoon. Stress and anxiety caused by an unhealthy lifestyle came through in different ways. My mind was so overloaded, it was affecting my memory. Zoomers can also experience this as a result of aging, from simple forgetfulness to the onset of dementia. I've chosen a yoga series that can stimulate memory by simply bringing more blood to the brain. January is Alzheimer's Awareness Month. These yoga tips are an ounce of prevention to save ourselves and the ones we love dearly from this challenging health issue. So we'll come down onto the mat for toe squats. Now you can turn the toes over and rest the toe pads, and then come back and sit on your heels, feeling that wonderful stretch through the plantar fascia. If you're having trouble with this, or if you need to take a break, you just turn your toes down and see if you can come back and rest on the fronts of the ankles. The connective tissue on the back line of the body begins on the sole of the foot. The plantar fascia is a very tight area for many of us because we wear tight shoes. And this tightness manifests all the way up the back line. The chain of connective tissue carries this tension all the way up to the eyebrows. So that's covering the scalp as well. And after we take toe squats a few times, we may notice that there's a wonderful release of stored energy on the whole back line of the body into the scalp. We're feeling this wonderful sense of opening through the scalp and through the seventh chakra up at the top. Now we'll come to standing and we'll move into restorative padottanasana, wide-legged standing forward fold. This can be a very invigorating pose for many of us. It brings a lot of blood into the head, into the eyes, and that's one of the benefits of inversions when we're working with memory. But if you have any retinal problems, it's important to keep the head and the heart on a level plane. So Patricia is going to be using a chair as we go into restorative padottanasana. We're going to be coming into the pose very gently and softly, bending the knees, taking the sit bones back. Let the hands come onto the knees. The elbows come onto the knees. Being kind to the hamstrings is very important. We don't want to stretch the hamstrings to the point of tearing. It takes 1.5 years to fix hamstrings, so be very gentle. If you feel comfortable lengthening the hamstrings and straightening the back of the knees, maybe that would feel wonderful. You can bring your hands down to the floor if that's feeling good. You could also be using a chair or a bolster, a couple of pillows. And we're just going to be moving the hips from side to side and lengthening out the hamstrings one at a time. Long, slow, smooth in breaths, long, slow, smooth out breaths. Let the head come down and hang. Shaking the head, nodding the head, moving the head in circles. We're releasing a lot of tension out of the back of the neck, out of the spine, out of the scalp. And we're bringing an enormous amount of prana and an enormous amount of energy into the brain. Now, we'll take the hands on the hips and we'll energize the legs. And then on an in-breath, rise up. Wonderful. Now, let's go into child's pose and we'll move into downward facing dog. So we come onto our knees and our hands. The knees can be wide, the feet together, and the arms will be out in the front. We're taking the forehead down to the ground and resting. We're taking the sit bones back, the tailbones coming back, and we're letting the out-breath be complete, letting the belly come to the front spine. We feel the pelvis pouring the spine out in this pose. We feel the spine lengthening. This is a part of the information superhighway. The brain is one area where we have intelligence, but there's also intelligence all the way down the back, concentrating in the spine, in the spinal column. Now, we can turn the toes under and move into downward facing dog. We're pressing down into the base of the index finger and the thumb and the meat of the thumb, and pressing down into the toes. The sit bones come up. Inner spiral of the upper leg bones, outer spiral of the upper arm bones, taking the heart back towards the thighs. Broadening the shoulder blades, making space around the shoulder shelf, letting the head come down, nodding the head, shaking the head, releasing all of the tension in the spine. We're bringing more prana and more oxygen, more blood down into the brain. When you're ready, come down, knees supporting you, into child's pose, resting your forehead. Resting the forehead on the ground is a wonderful way to calm the mind. One of the most important practices for enhancing memory is allowing the mind to become still. And we do that by watching the breath. We do that by keeping our awareness on where the breath is breathing the body. When we have our forehead supported on the ground, there's a cooling effect on the brain. So all of the mental activity that may be preventing us from being able to access information easily, all of that excess thinking drops down. We are going to exhale firmly, and this idea of moving the stomach back toward the front spine is going to create this wonderful wave of air coming out of the nostrils. Let me demonstrate for you. Of course, you'll want to keep a Kleenex close at hand, and we do several rounds. We'll try 5 breaths. Maybe we'll try 10 breaths. If you can get up to 25 breaths, you can get a lot of heat going here, and that is wonderful for also helping our immune system. 80% of our immune system is in the guts, so let's go for Kapalabhati. Now, take the Kleenex and keep it close at hand, and exhale firmly. Wonderful. Now, feel how much more open and fresh you are now. Now, Bhastrika is the breath of fire. It's like a dog panting. So we just begin to work with the belly so that we can get the digestive fires burning a lot more brightly. At the end of the practice, you may feel like you need to wipe yourself off and you haven't even gone anywhere. So let's give this a try. And then when you run out of steam, you just stop, catch your breath, and then go back. And maybe 3 rounds, doing as many rounds as you can, doing as many of these breaths as you can, and just feeling heat building up, feeling some kind of shifts going on deep inside the belly. We're moving a lot of energy here, getting things warmer and warmer, and then we'll release. We're going to come down into Viparita Karani, using a chair, a sofa, a wall if you have it available. We'll come down and get our legs set up so that we can take our ankles onto the tops of the chair back. We'll take the legs out to the corners of the chair back, and then we'll just shake the legs a little bit. Just shaking the legs a little bit. Let the breaths ground you, especially through the heads of the femurs into the hip sockets. There's a wonderful sense of releasing all of the muscles and all of the connective tissue here with these very gentle movements. Now we'll come into another variation of Viparita Karani. We'll take the soles of the feet together and let them rest on the chair seat. And we let the upper legs externally rotate, and then you can rock your pelvis from side to side, which is going to help create a little bit more movement into the hip sockets. Or you can butterfly the legs back and forth this way. Use the breath to move awareness and prana, life force and vitality into any areas that seem to be troublesome. If you're experiencing discomfort, of course, at any time during our practice today, just back off and do a little bit less. Now let's come back up to the first variation of Viparita Karani, A, legs long. And then we'll spread the toes and press the heels up to the sky. We're loosening up the back of the legs here, loosening up the hamstrings and the calves and the Achilles tendons. It can get really tight. And then again, we'll take our ankles over to the corners of the chair and just let go of the legs in very gentle movements here. Use the breath to move energy down. Apana is this downward flowing pranic wind that is really helpful when we have tension and gripping in certain parts of the hips or the legs. It's great to use the breath to bring that down. Now, one more time with C, Viparita Karani C. The soles of the feet come together, and then we can butterfly the legs or rock the pelvis back and forth. We get this really wonderful sense of releasing synovial fluid deep in the hips, so that movement becomes easier, more fluid.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and stay up to date on all the latest videos. And let me know in the comments section below what other kind of videos you'd like to see.